There's a mysterious force within you working tirelessly not to build your dreams, but to destroy them. It whispers when you're about to achieve something important. It makes your hands tremble when success is within reach. It clouds your mind when happiness approaches. This force isn't an external enemy, it's you, or rather that shadowy part of you that carries ancestral memories, primal fears, and karmic patterns your soul hasn't yet resolved. Have you ever wondered why, just when everything seems to be going right in your life, something inside you sabotages your own efforts? Why your hands shake when you're about to sign that important contract? Why your mind becomes foggy when you're about to declare your love? Why you become your own worst enemy exactly when you need to be your best ally? The answer to this unsettling reality lies not only in modern psychology, but in the millennia-old depths of the human soul, in what Edgar Cayce, the visionary who traversed between the visible and invisible worlds, called karmic soul patterns, cycles that repeat themselves life after life until they are consciously understood and transformed. Self-sabotage isn't simply neurotic behavior or a character flaw, as we're often led to believe. It's actually an ancestral mechanism of the soul, a repressed shadow carrying the memories of traumas, disappointments, and wounds that transcend this current existence. When Edgar Cayce delved into his prophetic trances, he frequently revealed that the self-destructive patterns we observe in our present lives are echoes of traumatic experiences lived in past incarnations, energetic scars that the soul carries as unhealed reminders of lessons unlearned. Imagine your soul as an ancestral mirror, reflecting not only who you are today, but also who you were in all your previous journeys. Every unresolved trauma, every fear not faced, every unforgiven guilt becomes a crack in this mirror, distorting your self-image and creating self-sabotaging patterns that manifest whenever you approach situations that echo these old wounds. You may not consciously remember, but your soul remembers. It remembers when it was betrayed and now fears trusting completely. It remembers when it failed publicly and now freezes before opportunities to excel. It remembers when power corrupted its essence and now unconsciously rejects success. The repressed shadow within you isn't malevolent. It's actually a wounded guardian trying to protect you from repeating past suffering. When you're about to fall deeply in love, it whispers, "Remember the last time you loved like this. Remember the pain." When a great professional opportunity arises, it murmurs, "What if you're not capable? What if they discover you're not who you seem to be?" When abundance begins to flow into your life, it questions, "Do you really deserve this? Wouldn't it be better to stay in the comfort zone of scarcity?" These whispers aren't external voices, they're echoes of your own soul trying to process past life experiences that still resonate within your being. Edgar Cayce often spoke of the Akashic Records, an energetic library where all the experiences of all souls throughout all incarnations are recorded. According to his teachings, when we experience self-sabotage, we're unconsciously accessing these ancient memories and reacting not to the present, but to the past. An executive who trembles before an important presentation may be carrying the memory of a life where they were publicly humiliated. A woman who sabotages romantic relationships every time they become serious may be unconsciously reliving the pain of a betrayal that occurred hundreds of years ago. An artist who destroys their own work before showing it to the world may be echoing the trauma of an incarnation where their creativity was brutally suppressed. But herein lies the beauty and hope of Edgar Cayce's teachings. Nothing in our spiritual journey is accidental or without purpose. Self-sabotage, however painful, is also a sacred opportunity for healing. It's the soul's call for you to finally confront, understand, and transform these ancestral patterns. Every time you catch yourself sabotaging yourself is actually an invitation to delve deeper into your own essence and discover which old wound is crying out to be healed. The first step to transforming self-sabotage is to recognize that you are not just this body, this personality, this life. You are an eternal soul walking through multiple experiences, collecting lessons, facing challenges, and constantly evolving. The person you are today carries with them the wisdom and also the wounds of all your previous journeys. When you begin to see your current life through this broader lens, self-sabotage ceases to be a mysterious enemy and becomes a map pointing exactly where your soul needs healing. hash a pause for reflection and your spiritual journey, and here, in this moment of deep reflection, I need to pause our journey for a moment to share something important with you. If these words are touching your soul, if you feel you've finally found someone who understands the spiritual complexities behind human patterns, then you need to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell right now. Don't do this out of mere curiosity. Do it because your soul is ready for a profound transformation, and you can't afford to miss any of the teachings we'll share here. Each video we create is like a spiritual key, a healing tool your soul has waited lifetimes to find. Your journey of liberation from self-sabotaging patterns is just beginning, and I want to be by your side every step of this sacred transformation. Click that subscribe button as an act of faith in your own spiritual evolution. Returning to our journey of understanding, it's important to understand that the repressed shadow within you has many faces and manifests uniquely in each area of your life. In the realm of love, it might appear as a pattern of choosing emotionally unavailable partners, or a tendency to create conflict just when a relationship is blossoming. These aren't coincidences, they're manifestations of unresolved karmic contracts, of ancestral wounds related to love and intimacy that your soul hasn't yet fully healed. Edgar Cayce revealed that we often unconsciously choose partners who help us repeat familiar patterns of pain, not because we're masochistic, but because our soul recognizes in these situations an opportunity to finally transcend these experiences. The woman who always falls for men who abandon her might be reliving a karmic pattern where she was the one who abandoned, and now her soul seeks to understand both sides of this experience. The man who sabotages relationships whenever his partner demonstrates unconditional love might be dealing with ancestral memories of being loved conditionally and developing the belief that he doesn't deserve pure love. In the professional and financial dimensions, self-sabotage takes on other equally revealing masks. You might find yourself procrastinating on the most important projects, arriving late to crucial meetings, or even falling ill when great opportunities arise. These seemingly irrational behaviors make sense when we understand that they might be echoing past life experiences where success brought traumatic consequences, where visibility resulted in persecution, where abundance generated betrayal or destructive envy. An entrepreneur who invariably sabotages their business when it starts to prosper might be carrying unconscious memories of an incarnation where commercial success brought misfortune to their family. An artist who destroys their creations before exhibiting them might be reliving the trauma of a life where their art was used against them or where their creativity was violently suppressed. A teacher who diminishes themselves in the face of opportunities for professional growth might be echoing memories of when the knowledge they possessed brought persecution or martyrdom. The key to understanding these patterns lies in observing not only the self-sabotaging behavior, but also the physical and emotional sensations that accompany it. Edgar Cayce taught that the physical body is like a temple that holds memories, not only from this life, but from all the soul's experiences. When you're about to sabotage something important, pay attention. Where do you feel tension in your body? What emotions arise? What images or memories, however vague, appear in your mind? These are fragments of old memories trying to communicate something essential for your healing. The anxiety that arises before an important presentation might be connected to memories of when you were brutally silenced in a past life. The feeling of not deserving that appears when something good is about to happen might echo experiences where you were punished for being happy or successful. The irrational fear of being exposed as a fraud might reflect memories of when you actually deceived someone and carry that ancestral guilt as an unhealed wound. But true transformation begins when you stop fighting these patterns and start dialoguing with them. Instead of getting angry with yourself for sabotaging once again, try approaching with curiosity and compassion. Ask your repressed shadow, what are you trying to protect me from? What are you afraid of? What old memory is being activated now? When you become a compassionate observer of your own patterns, instead of a harsh judge, you create space for true healing to begin. Edgar Cayce frequently prescribed meditation not as a relaxation practice, but as a method of direct communication with the deepest layers of the soul. Through mindful meditation, you can begin to access these old memories and understand their origins. It's not about reliving traumas, but about illuminating unconscious patterns with the light of present consciousness. When you meditate with the specific intention of understanding your self-sabotage, your soul begins to reveal the connections between present behaviors and past experiences. Visualize yourself descending a staircase of light that leads to the libraries of your soul. Each step you descend is a period of your current existence, and as you continue descending, you access deeper layers, past lives where the current patterns originated. Don't force the images or memories, just allow your consciousness to expand and observe what arises naturally. Perhaps you'll see fragments of other eras, other personalities, other contexts, where situations similar to those that trigger your self-sabotage today were experienced traumatically. Forgiveness, gratitude, and the transformation of self-sabotage. Forgiveness is a crucial element in transforming self-sabotage, but not the superficial kind that simply tries to forget or minimize the pain. True forgiveness, as understood in the teachings of spiritual leaders like those explored by Edgar Cayce, is acknowledging that all experiences, even the most painful, serve the greater purpose of soul evolution. When you forgive not only others involved in your ancestral wounds, but also forgive your own choices and reactions, you release the energy trapped in those patterns and allow it to be redirected toward creating new paths. Forgiving yourself for self-sabotaging means recognizing that on a deeper level, you were simply trying to process experiences that transcended your capacity for conscious understanding. Forgiving those who hurt you in past lives, or in this one, is understanding that they too were souls in the process of evolution, facing their own challenges and limitations. This forgiveness doesn't justify or minimize the pain, but transforms the energy of the wound into wisdom and compassion. Gratitude also plays a transformative role. When you can feel gratitude for the self-sabotage itself, not for the pain it causes, but for the opportunity for healing it represents, you fundamentally change your relationship with these patterns. Gratitude transforms self-sabotage from enemy to teacher, from obstacle to gateway, to a deeper understanding of yourself. Imagine being able to thank each moment of self-sabotage because it reveals exactly where your soul needs attention and healing. Imagine seeing each self-destructive pattern as a treasure map pointing to the spiritual riches you can discover when you finally illuminate these shadowy areas of your existence. This shift in perspective is in itself one of the greatest healings you can offer your soul. Spiritual teachers often emphasize the importance of relationships as mirrors to our internal patterns. The people who appear in your life, especially those who evoke intense emotional reactions, are often souls with whom you have karmic contracts related to your self-sabotaging patterns. Perhaps it's the boss who triggers your need to diminish yourself, echoing an ancestral dynamic of power and submission. Maybe it's the romantic partner who activates your fears of abandonment, reflecting old wounds related to loss and separation. These encounters aren't punishments, they are sacred opportunities for mutual healing. When you understand that the people in your life are mirrors of aspects of your own soul that need to be integrated, you can transform conflicted relationships into laboratories of spiritual evolution. Instead of automatically reacting to the triggers they evoke, you can use these situations as opportunities to practice new responses, to break ancestral patterns, and create new relational pathways. Synchronicity is another fundamental aspect of spiritual teachings that applies directly to healing self-sabotage. When you're truly committed to transforming these patterns, the universe conspires to present you with exactly the situations, people, and opportunities you need to complete your healing. You may begin to notice that you repeatedly encounter situations that activate your self-sabotaging patterns, not as punishment, but as progressive opportunities to practice new behaviors. Perhaps you notice that whenever you're about to break a self-destructive pattern, a coincidence arises that tests your resolve. A book that speaks directly to your specific pattern appears in your hands. A casual conversation with a stranger reveals profound insights into your self-destructive tendencies. A vivid dream offers clear guidance on how to proceed. These aren't random occurrences, they are manifestations of the universal intelligence working to support your healing journey. Dream work is a powerful tool for understanding and healing self-sabotage. When you begin paying attention to your dreams with the specific intention of understanding your self-sabotage, your subconscious mind begins actively working to bring to light the necessary connections and insights. Keep a dream journal and look for patterns that relate to your self-destructive tendencies. Perhaps you repeatedly dream of situations where you're being chased, reflecting ancestral fears related to visibility and success. Perhaps figures of authority appear in your dreams, evoking feelings of inadequacy, echoing power dynamics from past lives that still influence your current behavior. Maybe you dream of situations where you lose something precious, revealing deep-seated fears of loss that trigger self-sabotaging behaviors as a way of losing first before life does. The transformation of self-sabotage also requires the conscious creation of new neural and energetic patterns. Each time you consciously choose a behavior different from the one your shadow self would propel, you are literally creating new pathways in your mind and soul. It's like creating trails in a dense forest. At first, the path is difficult, and you may be tempted to return to the old familiar trails, but with persistence, the new paths become clearer and more accessible. Practice small acts of courage that directly challenge your self-sabotaging patterns. If you tend to downplay yourself in meetings, practice offering a constructive suggestion. If you sabotage relationships by creating conflict, practice expressing vulnerability instead of defensiveness. If you procrastinate on important projects, practice dedicating just 5 minutes a day to the project, gradually building your capacity to stay present in the face of discomfort. Each small act of courage is like an offering to your soul, a demonstration that you are committed to evolution and ready to transcend limiting patterns. Small, consistent changes create more lasting transformations than sporadic, grand gestures. Mindful breathing plays a crucial role in this transformative process. When you sense the first signs of a self-sabotaging pattern activating, pause and take a deep breath. Breathing connects you to the present moment and creates space between the stimulus and your automatic response. In this sacred space between breath and action, you have the opportunity to consciously choose how to respond, rather than automatically reacting from ingrained patterns. Breathe as if you're drawing light directly into the wounded parts of your soul. Imagine each inhale bringing healing and understanding to old patterns, and each exhale releasing the trapped energy in these self-destructive cycles. Breathing becomes a bridge between your present self and all previous versions of yourself that contributed to the formation of these patterns. As you progress on this journey of transformation, you may begin to experience what spiritual leaders like those explored by Edgar Cayce called silent rebirths, moments where you clearly sense an old part of yourself dying to make way for a new version of your essence. These moments may be accompanied by intense emotions, unusual physical sensations, or even shifts in your sleep patterns and dreams. Don't fear these processes. They are signs that deep healing is taking place. During these periods of intense transformation, be especially kind to yourself. Your soul is doing the Herculean work of energetic reorganization, releasing patterns that may have been present for many lifetimes. It's natural to feel more sensitive, more introspective, or even temporarily confused about your identity. These are normal symptoms of the spiritual rebirth process. Create personal rituals that honor this transformation. Perhaps it's lighting a candle each night and dedicating a few minutes to thanking the parts of yourself that are being healed. Perhaps it's writing letters to your past selves, expressing understanding and forgiveness for past choices. Perhaps it's creating a meditative walking practice where you visualize leaving behind, with each step, the old patterns that no longer serve your growth. Community and support are also essential elements of this journey. Spiritual leaders, like those explored by Edgar Cayce, frequently emphasized that we don't evolve alone, but in connection with other souls sharing similar journeys. Seek out people who understand the spiritual nature of human challenges, who can offer non-judgmental support as you navigate the deep waters of personal transformation. You might find this community in spiritual study groups, in therapists who work with holistic approaches, or even in friendships that deepen as you begin to show up more authentically. The important thing is not to try to do this journey completely alone. Your soul needs compassionate witnesses to your transformation, people who can reflect back to you the beauty of your evolution when you can't clearly see it yourself. As you advance in this healing process, you may begin to notice that your relationship with the concept of failure transforms completely. What you once saw as setbacks or self-sabotage, you may now recognize as valuable information about areas of your soul that needed attention. Each relapse into old patterns becomes an opportunity to refine your understanding and deepen your compassion for yourself. This shift in perspective is in itself one of the greatest victories you can achieve. When you stop fighting yourself and begin working with your own complex and multidimensional nature, the energy that was previously wasted in internal conflict can be redirected toward creation, healing, and service. Spiritual leaders, like those explored by Edgar Cayce, taught that the ultimate purpose of all personal healing is to empower the soul to serve the greater good. As you free yourself from self-sabotaging patterns, you naturally become a channel for others to make the same journey. Your personal transformation becomes a beacon of possibility for other souls still struggling in the turbulent waters of self-destructive pattern. You may discover that your experience with self-sabotage, once healed and integrated, becomes one of your greatest qualifications for helping others. The deep understanding you develop about the complexities of the human soul, the compassion you cultivate for yourself and others, and the practical wisdom you gain about the transformation process become precious gifts that you can share. This is one of the most beautiful mysteries of spiritual teachings, like those explored by Edgar Cayce. Our greatest wounds, once healed, become our greatest strengths. The part of you that most sabotaged can transform into the part that most inspires and empowers others toward their own liberation. The repressed shadow, when consciously integrated, adds depth, authenticity, and spiritual power to your presence in the world. As we come to the close of this journey of understanding, I invite you to take a deep breath and feel what has shifted in your perception of your own nature. The repressed shadow within you is not your enemy, it's a wounded guardian carrying ancestral memories that can now be transformed into wisdom. Every pattern of self-sabotage is a map pointing to spiritual treasures buried deep within your soul. Each moment of recognizing these patterns is a sacred opportunity to consciously choose a different path, to rewrite not only your present story, but to heal wounds that echo through multiple lifetimes. You are not destined to forever repeat the same self-destructive cycles. You are here, in this incarnation, at this precise moment, because your soul is finally ready for liberation. Transformation doesn't happen through force or denial of your shadow, but through the compassionate integration of all aspects of your multidimensional being. When you embrace your complexity with love, when you honor both your light and your shadow, When you acknowledge that every part of you has a sacred purpose in your journey of evolution, then true spiritual alchemy can begin. Your self-sabotage can transform into conscious self-determination, your ancestral fears can become intuitive wisdom, and your deepest wounds can become sources of compassion and strength to serve the world. This is the invitation your soul offers you now. Stop fighting yourself and begin to dance with all parts of your being, creating a symphony of transformation that echoes not only in your current life, but in all dimensions of your eternal existence. Final reflection question: if you could send a message of love and understanding to all past versions of yourself that contributed to your current patterns of self-sabotage, what words of healing would your soul offer to these wounded aspects of your own essence?